Welcome back, everyone. Parenting is challenging and it is frustrating. That's why ABC4 News at 4 has teamed up with Donna Tejo for Kids Under Construction. It's our Monday and Friday conversation about how to be better parents. She's joining us from LA via Zoom, and also joining us today for this segment is Dr. Regine Mouradian. She's a licensed clinical psychologist, children's author, speaker, consultant, and mental health advocate. And let's start off with this. What is Team Project Rise, and how did you come together for that?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. So Team Project Rise is a story, pretty much, we really hope to inspire others to turn frustration into positive solutions. So it all started when the pandemic started in March of 2020. I saw kids' mental health deteriorating. I saw sadness, loneliness, isolation, and kids really having a hard time with distance learning. But I had also noticed that teachers were feeling anxious and scared, and they didn't really know how to respond to students who were missing assignments, not attending class, and not really recognizing the signs for anxiety, depression, inattention, and all these other things that students were presenting with. So I also saw this as a mom of three, my kids struggling, and that's how Team Project Rise came out after a conversation with a colleague. So pretty much a mental health training for teachers focusing on post-COVID stressors.
Doctor, I am so happy to have you here. I love the work that you do. You know that I'm doing very similar work in the classrooms with my picture book, Dear Me, and its curriculum. Talk about why teachers really should be trained in this mental health realm. I mean, you think about it, just another thing for teachers to learn, but really it is so very necessary.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love the work you do. And I think that we all have to kind of come together and do the work in little batches and pieces. But I'm sure, as you've seen also, teachers, they need mental health training, right? Just like they receive, I believe, diversity training, they receive harassment training. I know that right now they're receiving also COVID training, but I'm not really hearing much about the mental health training for teachers to help support them, because they really need the support. They need the tools on how to understand their students, right? Because teachers are teaching, let's say, the material, but if they don't know how to best support the kids who are presenting with these post-COVID stressors after it's been more than a year and a half being home, they're going to feel very overwhelmed.
Now, you talked about the goal of all of this, but let's focus on the training specifically and what the teachers can expect and kind of what you hope to accomplish during that training specifically.
Yes. So the training will be a 45-minute webinar that teachers can take at their leisure. It's going to focus on how to recognize and respond to things like inattention, depression-like symptoms, disruptive-like behaviors in the classroom. We created a mental health training program that's going to really give the teachers the tools that they need to help identify early warning signs of mental health issues, right? And teach the teachers how to interact with the students who are facing challenges and to refer.
And doctor, really quickly, talk about those post-COVID stressors and what teachers might see in the classroom.
Yes. So some of the post-COVID stressors that I've already been seeing as a clinician, and just also the colleagues who are involved in this project, are the symptoms. The post-COVID stressors are the symptoms that the pandemic has triggered. And the pandemic has triggered, just like us also for adults, emotional and physical issues, which has led to symptoms like, for example, feeling worried, fearful, anger, difficulty focusing in class, increased procrastination, low motivation, and a very big one that I've been hearing now, kids have just been back in school, I think a week now, is this fatigue and social anxiety, this fear of socializing with others. So all this, when you take this into a classroom, kids are not going to be able to really focus and be present. So this will definitely present a challenge for teachers. So they need to know what to do and how to respond to that.
Oh, doctor, this is all so important. We really appreciate you joining us today for Kids Under Construction. We want to remind everybody, Team Project Rise, Thank you so much for being here. We'll, of course, have more information on our website, abc4.com. And we want to remind everyone, Donna's podcast, Kids Under Construction, you can always find that online at abc4.com. If you have questions for Donna, please email them to us at kidsunderconstruction@abc4.com. A very important conversation, something that we'll all be navigating as we go throughout this school year. Thank you to both of you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.